The Raptors pick up a W against Kawhi Leonard and the LA Clippers. The vision was in full effect tonight. Let's go to the film room. The Raptors have been winning on defense recently, and you have to give credit to RJ Barrett for buying in on that end. He took the Kawhi assignment tonight seriously, got a lot of turnovers. Kawhi got 4 turnovers tonight. He played excellent defense on him all throughout the game, pressuring the ball, poking it out, being active with his hands, and being physical on the ball. It really caused Kawhi to get out of rhythm, and I thought generally this shows you the potential that RJ has defensively, because he has the physical tools to stay with wings. He has the size, he has the length to be able to compete on that end, and now he's finally actualizing it. Look, it's been a really good stretch. The last 2 weeks, as much as the defense has been Davion stepping up and Scottie being a big part of it and Yak being his usual great self, I think that we've seen a lot of good moments from RJ Barrett defensively, and we're seeing him win more often. So I think that's huge for him as a two-way player moving forward in this league. I think it's massive that he's finally putting it together on the defensive end, because I've always thought it made sense for him to eventually be at least a neutral defender. And tonight he was a positive defender, and the Raptors forced tons of turnovers. He was a huge part of that aspect, especially when it came to taking on the on-ball assignment of Kawhi Leonard. And it was great. It was really, really fun to watch RJ be this actualized version. Offensively, still got to his 20 points. You know, it was 9 of 21, not necessarily the most efficient, but you chalk that up to the good defense of the Clippers. And you basically look at this performance from RJ and say, you know what? That's the vision of what you could see long-term with this Toronto Raptors team. And the reason I say that is because I thought his playmaking and the connection that him, Jakob, and Scottie had together was really, really nice. Let's go to the film room for that too. Pin down situation, and instead of getting a shot for Gradey, they top block it. RJ cuts backdoor, and it's a nice give and go with Jakob. Different situation here, pick and roll with Scottie and Jakob. 2 to the ball, he just dumps it off to Jakob in the short roll. RJ in the dunker spot, easy bucket. This time a down screen for RJ to get to the basket. Clippers just switch it outright, and then they flow into a pick and roll with RJ and Jakob, and it ends in a dunk for Jakob Poeltl. And so you see those connections coming together. You see how those three can win on the floor together with their playmaking, with the gravity that they command on the ball, with the driving gravity that they have, with Jakob's playmaking ability, with Scottie's mid-range craft, with RJ's ability to get to the basket, with the cutting of both RJ and Scottie. It can weaponize Jakob's passing much more. And so you see how these guys can succeed together long term. And look, there's tons of questions about RJ's extension moving forward and Jakob's extension moving forward. And I've been on here telling you guys before, we don't know what the final version of this team is. You know, when the rebuild is fully actualized, we won't know. And the likely scenario is that not all of these players will be on the playoff version of the Toronto Raptors. But in the meantime, I think we're seeing the young guys of this Raptors team step up. We're seeing the core figure things out. And this is exactly what you wanted to see when the Raptors got healthy in January. I think it took some time. And again, I said this in the YouTube when they went on that strugglesome stretch when they were basically fully healthy. And it was oh my God, the Raptors are now fully healthy. Let's see if they can, let's see what it looks like. And it didn't look good to start because everybody seemed too passive. Everybody was kind of your turn, my turn, etc. And it wasn't the style in which the Raptors wanted to play. And so now they're getting back into that. Now they're figuring each other out. That people have coined it 0.5 basketball, but 0.5 basketball is just a philosophy at which to live your life. You know what I mean? And to play basketball. It's move the ball quickly. It's look for the open shot, make the extra pass. And the Raptors do that. I think they had another 30 assists tonight, 31 assists tonight for the Toronto Raptors. They move it incredibly well. And I think a lot of that is because they have bought in to this system that they're trying to run. Tons of cutting, tons of movement off the ball. It catches defenses in disarray. And what's excellent is that the defense is working now too. And you're seeing the fruition. It's all coming together, really. This was one of those wins where you could see the vision of what a good version of this Raptors team would be. I don't think this Raptors team is far off from playing contention. I think, obviously we have the tank situation and they're in a position to get a high lottery pick. And so they're incentivized to maybe not go for the play-in this year. But I think if this Raptors team was fully healthy the entire year, they absolutely would be in the play-in this year. So they are in a position where they're good. like they're good enough to compete. And especially their starting lineup. Emmanuel quickly only played in 17 minutes. He missed. He didn't play the rest of the 19 minutes in the second half. Actually left to the locker room, but according to Darko Rajakovic, like this was just part of his minute restriction. He's okay. We'll see how that kind of translates and see how that looks moving forward. Going to be interesting to see what happens with the Knicks game. Obviously, with both of those guys being healthy, I think it's the first time IQ has been healthy against the Knicks since last year, which is crazy. That being said, you can see how this team is coming together. And I think a big way you see how they're coming together is the trio combination of Gradey Dick, Ochai Agbaji, and Jacoby Walter. I've said it in the past. I'll say it again. I think those are the exact types of wings that you want to surround Scottie Barnes with. Guys who can shoot, guys who are athletic, guys who hopefully one day will be positive defenders. I think there's a world in which all of those guys are positive defenders if they're not already. And I think like that's the vision. It's the vision. I'm titling this segment The Vision because I really do think we saw what the vision looks like in a game like tonight where Scottie is facilitating, dominating on the defensive end, getting to his shots in the mid-range. We're seeing RJ, Jakob, and Scottie connect in a big way. We're seeing RJ buy in defensively, quick punching in the minutes that he has. Hopefully he'll have a more expanded role once he's off this minute restriction. But then the trio of wings that they have really heighten everything that they want to do, both offensively and defensively. Let's go to the film room for that too. This is the vision right here. Great off-ball movement by Gradey Dick. Pump tries to get the opening, and then it's a give and go between him and Jakob. He gets to the basket. That is intuition right there as a cutter. Clutch situation, Jacoby Walter. Defense collapses into Scottie Barnes. He just cuts backdoor, dunks over Zubats, using that athleticism and using that length. Defensively, using their length off of the ball to get steals. This is Jacoby Walter getting the steal. Raptors out and running. Again, great cutting here. Scottie, tons of attention. Off ball, alley-oop, backdoor cut from Gradey Dick for the finish. And all of this heightens what Scottie is really good at, which is making plays on the go. And so when you have guys who are willing cutters, it heightens what Scottie is incredibly good at, which is that cerebral playmaking. Great defense from Ochai as the low man here, pokes out the ball and then gets the block. Raptors are out and running. Gradey with the finish. Obviously, shooting is a massive part of this equation too. Ochai knocking down that corner three. He was perfect on the night. Jacoby working on that shot as well, knocks down a corner three. Here, off of the offensive rebound, Ochai with the block, and then Jacoby recovers it, pushes it in transition. Gradey knocking down his threes. He looks comfortable. Once again, he's had a couple of good games here recently where he's just had his legs under him athletically, and you see here in transition, he finishes through the contact. On this play, offensive rebound, Jacoby Walter battling for it, and then they get it out to Gradey Dick for the three, and he's hitting it above the break now, and Gradey looks really comfortable. I thought this was a really great game from Gradey to kind of solidify and remind people like when he's at his best, when he's knocking down his shots, when he's active, off of the ball, how great of an offensive player he can be. Even Jack Armstrong said, he's like, dude, this guy is going to be a player for the Toronto Raptors. And I definitely agree with that statement. Ochai is such a great cutter and screener, so utilizing him with the passing ability of some of the Raptors bigs, slips the screen and finishes. And this is a lot of intriguing stuff from Jacoby Walter as a creator. The pull-up three, watching a lot of the G League games, I've seen him do that countless times. He hit a sidestep three in their last game. He's really working on developing his creation ability. I think that's one of the most intriguing things about him moving forward. Second year Jacoby is going to be really interesting just because of this creation off of the bounce. Just stonewalls this drive and then gets the block at the end. And so it's a combination of defense, shooting, and cutting that makes this trio really awesome for the Toronto Raptors. It's the vision. It's exactly the type of players that you want around your core of Emmanuel Quickley, Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Jakob Poeltl. All three of those guys can be inserted into the lineup for various different situations. Okay, cool. Grady's having an off night. Cool. Throw in Ochai, throw in Jacoby. Okay, cool. Jacoby still figuring it out as a young guy. Put Ochai in there, put Gradey in there. They'll get it done. Okay, cool. Ochai is more of a defensive-minded player. Okay, cool. He can slot in if you need more defense on any given night. I think Jacoby can eventually be that player too with his length and his athleticism. Gradey, I've talked about in the past, obviously, like he needs to bulk up. I think he just needs to get stronger. I think he's lost some of the weight that he gained at the start of the season. Ultimately, I want to see that progress more. I think he can eventually be a positive defender as well. And so you're seeing the vision for the Toronto Raptors. This was a game where even for the tankers, even for the people who really want this team to lose and lose in ways that kind of make it so that they can get their lottery pick, a high lottery pick. This is one of those wins where you got to say it was developmental. It made sense because it was your young guys doing it. It was Scottie figuring it out throughout the game, the intensity that he had throughout. RJ, that same intensity, that same approach on the defensive end. Jakob doing his thing. And then the trio, the vision, just really, really heightening everything that the Raptors want to do on both ends of the floor. Those type of wins are the type of wins that you want to see in a development season. Those are the type of wins that you want to see in a rebuild. And the Raptors achieved that tonight. So I have no problem with them winning this game. I think, despite the competition, I think this was probably one of the best wins of the season for the Toronto Raptors, beating a really good Clippers team that was basically full strength. It was full strength, except Norm Powell didn't play. And man, I think it was just a great game it's a great game for fans to be like, okay, I see what they're building. I understand what's happening now. But it's also a great game for the players to be like, this is how we can be. This is the vision of what we can be when we're an actual good team. Folks, crazy day in the NBA. As you could imagine, there's tons of stuff I got to get to NBA-wise with Luka and AD. It's wild. I got to get back to work on that stuff after I finish this. I'm sure you guys have your opinions on that stuff too. So let me know what you guys think about Luka and the whole trade situation that went down and what that might mean for the Toronto Raptors. I'm curious what your thoughts are. As always, like, comment, subscribe, do the things you guys do for Raptors Republic. We will see you guys later. Holla at your boy. Bye-bye.